All right. So now today's topic is measuring and monitoring staff performance. Now, when we say uh, monitoring staff performance and measuring it as well, so obviously you cannot monitor staff performance unless and until you measure it. Because once you measure the staff performance, then you'll be able to see whether the employees they are right on track or there is some need of improving their performance, right? In terms of the skills they have, in terms of the time that they take to complete their job. Okay, it could be because of employees own lack of skills, or it could be because of lack of equipment in the organization. So it can be uh, for any reason, but to monitor staff performance you need to measure it, and then obviously you will reward employees on the basis of their performance. So yes, you monitor staff performance, okay, and then you measure it as well. So you come to know that which employees require more focus, okay. So which employees need to be monitored on regular basis, okay, and that is only possible when you are able to measure the performance. So today we'll discuss what are those methods through which employees performance can be measured, because then obviously then a strategy can be developed that how to improve the performance of certain employees whose performance is not up to the mark for because of any reason. Let's discuss them. First is labor productivity. It's a very common method. You can see that okay, the average uh, products produced by one worker is, let's say, 10, okay, and let's say this is um, 10 watches, for example. Now there are certain workers who are not able to produce 10 watches, they are able to produce 6 or 7 watches. So it is evident that such workers, their performance is low compared to the performance of an average worker. So now obviously the company or the HR management can monitor them that how to improve it. Okay, and because why to monitor is required, because after measuring it, you will see that what is the cause of it, right? Either I told you earlier, either it is because of the lack of interest of the employee, or it is because of the lack of equipment given to the employee, right? So they need to see whether it is the fault of the worker or the organization, or sometimes maybe it is because of the lack of training given to the employee. For example, new machinery is introduced to a business, and certain employees are not given due training. So obviously their performance will be low compared to the other workers. It's quite obvious. So one is labor productivity. By looking at labor productivity, you can easily judge that which workers are not performing at par, or their performance is not same as other workers. And then obviously action can be taken. But right now we are just focusing on those methods which can help the HR management to measure the performance of the business. Then we have absenteeism rate. You can see that as well. Like for example, absenteeism rate means that how many workers get absent in a day, um, out of total number of workers. For example, if there are 100 workers and every day 10 workers get absent, so we'll say absenteeism rate is 10%. That every day 10% of the employees they get absent. So it's not good. Definitely, it will reduce the performance of the staff, because if they say the performance of the staff overall, right? Obviously, it's not the fault of those workers who come on regular basis, but if the HR management will see that what is the performance of all the employees which are part of the organization in total. So obviously the performance will be low. Why? Because every day 10% of employees they get absent. Again, there can be many reasons why they are absent. Either they do not like the working environment, or either the working environment is so unhygienic that they are not able to work over there, or they get ill every now and then. That is why they have to take days off. Okay, or because they are not happy with the the workplace or the management approach, so that's why they are looking for some other jobs. That's why they are taking days off. So the reason can be anything. So absenteeism rate can be one of the reason as well. If absenteeism rate is high, obviously it will affect the performance of the staff overall. So the formula is number of staff absent over total number of staff into 100. So you can calculate that as well. And let me tell you, in P3, they can ask you to calculate it. Now you have a question. So generally questions are of 10 marks, 12 marks, 14, 16 and 20. So how can they ask this question straight away? Yes, they can. If you see the past papers, you will see that there are 3 mark questions as well or 4 mark questions as well. And they are always related to calculation. Remember, you will always find questions where you have to calculate certain values, right? And they are normally of 3 marks. Like for example, there are two 3 mark parts, okay, total 6, and you have to calculate it. So yes, it can come. So you have to memorize the formulas as well. So now you understand how to calculate that. Then we have labor turnover. Now I think you are familiar with that as well because you discussed that. In fact, we discussed that in ES level as well. So let me ask some of you, Abdullah West, what is labor turnover?
Sir, labor turnover is the number of people who leave a organization per year. It is calculated with the formula number of people who leave the organization over total employees in the organization multiplied by 100.
Right. Okay. Yes, Fazan, you are raising your hand.
सर गलती से हो गया था.
Okay, all right, no problem. Okay, that's right. Labor turnover means how many employees are leaving out of the total number of workers who are employed, or the average number of workers who are employed in a year. Why average? Because maybe the number of workers every year may not remain the same. So obviously you have to take an average then, right? For example, if in one year the number of workers were 100, the next year they are one or two, the next year they are 98. So obviously, so the average would be 100. So that is why you can take average number of workers employed per year as well, or the total number. Yes, both can work, but I think average would be a better option. So yes, that's right. That number of workers leaving the job out of the total number of workers who are employed in a year by the company. So obviously, again, it will reduce the performance of the staff because when obviously workers would leave, nobody will be there to do that job. Okay, then they have to find workers, they have to recruit workers. It's a long process. You have to train them. So it obviously result into loss of output, and that shows the lower performance of staff.
सर ये लेबर टर्नओवर हमेशा पर ईयर के हिसाब से रिकॉर्ड किया जाता है.
Yeah, that's right. You can calculate it per day as well, but generally it is per year. Per year. Number of staff leaving over average number of staff employed into 100. So you can see because the formula is the same, so you can calculate. You can imagine that average number of staff employed. Okay, who asked me that question? I didn't see. Who asked me the question? That yeah,
अभी
Abiha. Okay, all right. Abiha. Now listen. You can see the formula. It's written number of staff leaving over average number of staff employed. So you know that staff is not hired on daily basis. You know that, right? Every day you hire a new employee. It's not possible. So obviously, maybe after spending a whole year, either employee leaves or you ask the worker to leave, whatever. So then that is why we calculate it per year. So average number of staff employed, that is obviously per year. So into 100, again, you can calculate that higher labor turnover means lower staff performance because now it's not about the performance of one worker. It's about the performance of the whole staff, all the workers which are employed by the organization. This is another method to measure staff performance. Then we have, yeah, waste levels, reject rates, consumer complaints. Again, we can discuss that as well. Now, by counting, okay, or by measuring the waste levels, reject rates, and consumer complaints, you can see or you can imagine the performance of the staff you have hired. Now, waste levels means, for example, you are producing it and you are using the raw material, right? And you are wasting it. Obviously, when you produce something, there is a lot of waste which comes out of the production. Think about if somebody is given a job to manufacture a wooden furniture, right? So obviously the wood is cut in many ways, right? So there, in the end, there might be some small pieces which are left and they cannot be used anywhere else. So what do? They just throw it away or they just put it aside. That is a waste, right? Because they can't be used further in any of the furniture making. So we call it waste level. So let's say waste levels are getting higher. It means employees are making mistakes or they are not focused on their job. So, for example, if the same job is there, that is wood cutting to make the furniture, again it means that if they are not focused, obviously they will waste away a lot of raw material because they are not cutting it in a precise manner. So that is one way. Then reject rates. That is after completing a product. Okay, now it is in final shape or it's a finished product. Organization obviously has certain standards. But okay, so if that product does not meet that standard, again the organization just rejects that and says, all right, we can't sell it because it is not up to the mark. Although it is finished, but because it does not meet the standard set by the organization or the standard which has been given by the customer, right? But you know that it's not all the time that customers give the standard because normally the requirement comes from the customer when it is job production, right? Customer exactly tells you how to produce and what size of furniture to be manufactured, right? But in case of ready-made items and the, the people they buy straight away from the retail shops, they can buy it from there, right? So in that case, factory must have their own standard. Okay, okay, this is below the standard, so we cannot just sell it or um, just transport it to the shop from where people can buy. So again, by looking at the reject rates as well, you can see that if rejection rate is increasing, it means that the quality of the work of the employees has gone down, and there's a problem there. It needs to be sorted out because performance is not only about quantity. Remember, performance is about quality as well, right? So then we have consumer complaints. So finally, for example, if it meets the standard, but still when people buy it, they feel that it is not up to the mark. Like for example, let me tell you, there is a factory which manufactures cars. Okay, so you have a test drive or maybe all sorts of testing which are supposed to be there. But after that, for example, the car passes all the tests which the car was supposed to. Okay, after that, the car is sent to the showroom. Someone buys from there, and then later on, after a few days or maybe a month or so, the customer comes with a problem. This is what we call consumer complaints. After buying it, so the customer sees that there is something uh, which is troubling them. Okay, maybe the sound of the engine of the car is getting louder. Okay, or maybe the brakes they do not work um promptly when they are applied. Okay, the seats are now no longer fixed at the same place. They move all the time. For example, these are actually different cases which can happen. So again, consumer complaints. So it means that again, it looked that the car was solid and it passed all the tests. But actually later on, the company realized that it was not long lasting. So again, so it means that there are three different stages which a company can observe and see that whether the performance is up to the mark or not, even after selling as well, because you know that customer service department is there, right? For you know that every time you buy a new car, there is a warranty there. Like right now, for example, you buy a new Honda, either Honda City, Honda Civic, or whatever. You know that they give you a warranty, right? Let's say there are three free checkups. Okay, maybe after 1 month, after 3 months, after 5 months, or 6 months, I guess. This is the normal routine as far as Honda company is concerned. Honda Atlas is actually responsible to manufacture cars, Honda cars in Pakistan. So three checkups are there, right? So obviously, then customer can come up with a complaint that there is a problem there. So they have to rework that. Okay, and they cannot charge anything from the customer. So there is a problem. So even after selling, the customer service department can tell you that yes, there is a problem. The customers are coming up with that sort of complaint. Okay, right? Maybe they say that the gears of the car they are not that efficient. Okay, So again, or maybe the pickup of the car is not up to the mark. It was there initially, but now it is actually getting slow. So they can communicate it to the HR management as well about it. Obviously, the production department as well. But again, the thing is that who produces them? Workers. Even machines are there. So machines are operated by workers, right? Because right now our focus is on staff performance rather than the performance of machines. Okay, all right. So that's it. Okay, anybody who actually is not clear about any of these four methods of performance which we discussed, your questions are most welcome. Anybody? Is that clear? Muhammad Ali Tarar, any problem?
No, sir.
Okay, Aniza Hamid. Aniza, any problem?
सर रिजेक्ट रेट का थोड़ा सा बता दें.
Okay, all right. Okay, I just told you reject rates mean that company has their own standards as well. Okay, and whenever a product leaves the factory or the workplace, they first actually check the product on the basis of the standard they set in the organization or in the factory or the workplace, right? So if the product does not meet that standard, that minimum standard, obviously they reject that product. And what does it mean? It means that they do not send the product out of the factory for sale. Okay, so either rework is required or they say we cannot sell it because it will affect the image of the brand. This is what we call reject rates. So if reject rates increase, obviously it will clearly show that there is an issue with the performance of the workers. Why rejection rate is increasing? Because the product is not able to meet the minimum standard set by the organization. Got it, Anita?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ramin, any issue?
No, sir.
All right. Okay, let's move on. Now we'll talk about labor turnover. Just a minute. All right. Now labor turnover, you know that. What is it? We discussed it. So now, first see the disadvantages. Cost of recruiting and training. You understand, it's very easy. We discussed that in the class as well, so I won't spend much time to explain that. Every now and then you have, when you have to hire workers, there is a long recruiting process. So it involves time and cost as well. So that is why that is a disadvantage. You can link it with higher cost, lower profit, okay, or loss of production. You can do it because it's there in the O level, sorry, AS level as well. Loss of output. So you understand this. Lack of team spirit. Okay, if you do not, if you, okay, you are looking at the points. If you are not able to develop any point, you can tell me right there. Lack of team spirit. So why team spirit won't be there? That's my question. So let me ask Sabah Rashid. Sabah, can you tell me why there will be lack of team spirit in case of high labor turnover?
सर जब फ्रीक्वेंटली लोग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को छोड़ के जाएंगे तो मोटिवेशन कम होगी टीम की और जिसकी वजह से प्रोडक्टिविटी भी कम हो जाएगी.
Okay, all right, that is one point. Although I was not thinking that way, but it's a valid point. Very good. That obviously, if there is a high labor turnover, every now and then a worker leaves. So obviously, the existing workers who are part of a certain team, they will also be demotivated. So their team spirit will go down. Why? Because there might be very important members of the team who are leaving. Okay, after every month or a couple of months, right? So obviously, it will demotivate them that now we are deprived of a very valuable member of the team. And now, how can we be able to achieve the target? Yes, that is possible. Secondly, when obviously when every now and then workers leave, new workers are hired as well. So now it is difficult to have the same chemistry with those new employees, right? Obviously, it will take some time. Those new employees will get familiar with the workplace, with the job, and with the team members. So, but it will take time. So that is why, let's say now, every now and then new workers are hired. they become part of a team and then they leave. So obviously then everything will be in a mess. There will never be a cooperation between team members because they do not know each other or one another. So that would lead to low team spirit, and eventually the team won't be able to achieve the target set by the organization. All right. Then we have difficult to establish loyalty and familiarity among them. I think you can develop it in that way as well. I just mentioned the same reason. Huh? Loyalty and familiarity comes when employees work in an organization for a long time period. Let's say 14 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? So we call such employees loyal. Okay. And everybody knows about them as well. The management, the colleagues, the staff members, everybody, right? But if there is a labor turnover, so obviously employees do not stay there in the organization for a longer time period. So familiarity and loyalty is not possible at all. It is out of question. So when loyalty and familiarity is not there, one, that you won't get the workers who will be working day and night, or might be spending more time than they are supposed to. Because loyal workers, they actually are so dedicated towards the organization that they do not see whether it's their time, it's home time or not. If, for example, they are there to complete their job, they give their time there as well. Like, for example, extra half an hour or extra hour over there as well to just finish the job, because they know, because loyal workers, they associate themselves with the organization, and they know that a organization will not be able to achieve the objective, their reputation will be at stake as well. They think that way. I'm talking about loyal workers, right? But think about those workers who are working over there just for maybe a couple of months or a year. Obviously, they have no such thinking at all. They say, all right, doesn't matter if we, this is home time and we'll go home. Doesn't matter. If they force us, we'll leave. So obviously, they don't bother about it. Why? Because if they are workers who are just um, coming in and going out of the business every now and then, so this is going to happen. But again, loyalty and familiarity, you have to develop it further. As I told you, you have to link it with the targets to be achieved by the company. Okay, or it may be the quality of work which the workers are supposed to do. Again, it can be affected as well. Okay, anybody I think there was somebody who just wanted to say something, I guess. Is there anybody or no? No one. All right. So be very clear. Yes, loyalty and familiarity will not be there, but you are not supposed to tell that, okay, because labor turnover is high, so employees won't be loyal or familiar. You have to tell it what would be the disadvantage if workers loyalty is low, or they are not familiar with one another. You have to express your viewpoint how it will lead to a disadvantage to a business. It can be in terms of not able to achieve objectives, or lower profits, bad image, whatever. Uh, you can develop it. Okay, now advantages. Less effective staff might be replaced by more effective staff. So that is an advantage. For example, you actually are fed up of certain workers, but they are working, but they are all the time making excuses, and you do not have any solid evidence to terminate them, for example, and you are fed up of them. So now if they leave themselves, so obviously there is an opportunity for you that now you can hire better workers in place of them, who can replace them in a much better way, right? So this is also possible, and now you do, because workers are leaving, so it means no bad image. If workers leave, right? I'm not talking about high labor turnover. Okay, if labor turnover is there, let's say, so you can replace the workers with good ones, right? So it's no bad image in the sense that the employees are not being made redundant, right? They are leaving themselves. So in that way, there will be no bad image. Secondly, no redundancy payment will be made to the workers because they are leaving on their own. Redundancy payment is only given when employer asks the workers to leave the job, right? And it's not the fault of the worker, you know that. So you can develop it in that way as well. Then we have new ideas and work techniques may come with new workers, obviously, because those workers might be working in some other organization. They might have different experiences and ideas, and they might give those useful ideas to the management as well, which will help the organization to perform in a much better way, able to achieve their objectives easily, or they can enhance their brand image because of those useful ideas. Then downsizing becomes easier. Now, downsizing, I hope you know it. Abdullah Hussain, what is it? What is downsizing? Abdullah Hussain, are you there? Muhammad Salar. Yes, Salar. Do you know what is downsizing?
नहीं सर।
All right. Shahir Ahmed, Ushba, Ushba Ishfaq, are you there? Shahir is not
सर
replying
उसका
as well.
माइक खराब है।
Okay, all right.
ये सर मैं वो आपने उसे कह रहे थे इसलिए मैंने बताया। सर डाउनसाइजिंग रिड्यूसिंग द नंबर ऑफ वर्कर्स।
Yes, very good. Reducing the number of workers. So it means now if you want to downsize workers, because let's say your cost is increasing, okay, and you have to reduce your cost. One of the cost reduction measures is reduce the number of workers. Okay, that is downsizing. But you know that when you downsize workers, you have to make them redundant. I told you earlier. And then bad image as well as redundancy payment. Okay, that might be huge for certain workers. I can tell you, there was a company, I think I told you earlier, Philip Morris International. So one day they actually called all their workers, and they certain workers, I think, and they actually gathered them in a hall, and they start presenting something. They actually started there presenting the names of various employees, and after presentation, they just said, okay, now you are no more required. So it's time to say goodbye to the organization. They said that clearly to the workers, but they made the redundancy payments. I'm telling you, and it actually ranged from 6 lakh to 80, 90 lakh. Can you imagine that? Okay, so employees actually got the amount lump sum. That is the whole amount they actually received it together. So obviously those employees would be happy. They say, all right, I got 80 lakh, and now I can think of, I have time to think of which job to choose, or which job to apply for, or whether to do a job or not. I can start my own business, for example, right? Let's say, okay. So that is why when redundancy payment is there, so there is no hue and cry from employee side most of the time. But so now because employees are leaving, so you do not need to do that as at all. Downsizing is going on automatically, and you will be able to save your cost. Now, what you will do as an organization, you will not hire further workers. That is it. If employees are leaving, unless and until it's a very important job, if employees are leaving, you will let them go, all right, and you won't hire more. So this will help you to downsize. Downsizing. Now, then we have method to improve employee performance. So we have discussed about employee performance, how to measure it, and the advantages and disadvantages of labor turnover. Now let's see how to improve employee performance. One is appraisal. Now, what is appraisal? Appraisal is basically a system in which employees' performance is evaluated throughout the year. Okay, and then employee or employees, they are given certain numbers out of 100. Okay, and in fact grades are given, I'm telling you, right? When I was a teacher, I know that a permanent teacher in Beacon House, so they actually used to give the teachers an appraisal form at the end of the year, that this is what management thinks about you. Okay, and the percentage was there, 80%, 90, 70, 60. Okay, so this is how, so that is actually a system there. Okay, and there are various bases on which they actually make that, like for example punctuality, level of skill, um, um, performance as a team member, meeting deadlines. Okay, so stuff like that. So this is how they do it. So it's very easy, so it can be done for every employee, and at the end of the year you can see that what are the areas where the employees lack or where the employees require improvement. Either this is the matter of the business to improve it, or it is the matter with the employee, right? And then you can, for example, if the matter is with the employee, you can sort it out. You can call the employee or the employees who are having some trouble. Let's say they are demotivated. So you can either sort them out, that okay, or resolve their issues, or you can say, okay, then it's better to leave. You can hire other workers as well, but you have to do something about it to improve the employee performance. So appraisal is one of the way. Then we have training and education. Okay, one more thing, when appraisal is done, so obviously you require certain supervisors as well. Remember, because if you are supposed to measure the performance of the worker, sorry, evaluate the performance of the worker throughout the year, so obviously there has to be somebody, like for example, factory workers may have a foreman, okay, or maybe a low level manager, or a supervisor who will be monitoring the employees on regular basis, okay, and that employee, that manager must be having a book, or maybe a software where the manager will be recording the performance of the employee on a regular basis, and this is how they will collect the data for the year. And then, so that is why the appraisal system can be very effective, because they actually observe every single day in that year. Then we have training and education. Again, it is possible, yes, if you think that the employees lack skills and they have not been given sufficient amount of training to operate a certain machinery, okay, or to work in a certain method of to perform their job using a certain method of production. So yes, it is possible. Training and education can also improve the performance of the business, but again, it depends on the reason. If employee is demotivated, training and education may not work. Remember, it's actually the reason for which training and education is given. If employee wants to work, employee is loyal, employee is putting all the effort, but because of lack of skill or lack of training, employee is not able to perform to the level required by the organization, then obviously training and education will definitely work. Then quality circles. Now, what is it? For that, um, quality circles are actually the groups of workers, the groups of workers. So normally, what do? They actually pick one employee, one or two employees from each department, okay, and they form that group. And now that the duty of the group is to visit all the departments of the organization, and their job is to find out the problems or the issues which are there, or which are highlighted by the employees who are working there. Now it's easier to highlight the issues for the quality circle. Do you know why? Because in that quality circle, in that workers group, uh, there is representation of every single department, because they take the workers from every single department. So obviously those workers know what are the issues faced by the workers in a certain department of the organization. So then when they identify those issues, they then suggest a solution to it. Okay, and obviously they cannot take the step to resolve the issue, but they can suggest a solution. So obviously then the report is sent to the top level management. They see the issues and the solution given by the quality circle, and then they take the decision on that basis, right? So this is again a very good way to do it. Why? Because here workers participation is there. So remember, when workers are involved in some kind of work, like let's say finding out the or identifying the issues which are there in the department, they become motivated. Why? Because now they realize that now issues will be highlighted, right, and they will be communicated to the staff, to the top level management as well. Why? Because it's our members of the department who are part of that group, so it won't be they won't be missed out. Then cell production. Do you know what is cell production? Cell production is where it's just like specialization or division of labor. The work is divided into different cells. What are those cells? In each cell there is a group working, okay, and their job is same. So all group of members in one cell, they uh, complete the same job together as a team. For example, there is car manufacturing going on, and there are different cells. So in one cell there might be engine being manufactured by a team, right? Similarly, in other cell the interior of the car might be manufactured by a team, right? So the advantage is within the team there is no boss, right? So all workers they decide on their own what kind of job they'll do. Obviously, they are part of the same team, but they can choose on their own that I am comfortable with that part, so I will do that. So in that way, and they know that if they neglect the work, obviously the whole team will be affected, and obviously then they will be answerable as well. So that is why all workers they support each other or one another, right? So that the task will be completed in the time frame given, and it should be of the right quality which is required by the organization. So in the other cell maybe interior is being designed and manufactured or made. In the other maybe assembling of the car is being done. All parts are actually being assembled again by a group with the help of the machines. So it is quite possible. So again, it will improve the efficiency, improve the performance in terms of quality and in terms of quantity as well. I told you why. What is the reason? Again, the important term is team spirit. Team spirit will be very high because all groups in their cells they would like to meet their deadlines, because in the end maybe certain groups can be highlighted that they actually completed their task right on time, and they can be rewarded on that basis as well. Okay, then we have financial incentives and non-financial incentives, and you know about it. We discussed that in chapter motivation at work in AS level as well. So yes, if workers feel that they require this, because Maslow hierarchy of needs say that. Okay, it says that the workers require basic necessities, and that can only be fulfilled with the help of money, right? Food, shelter, clothing. Similarly, non-financial incentives are there. For example, if company has given them a car, a house, again it gives them what status, right? Or recognition as well. Like workers may feel that yes, they are important part of the organization. They are actually holding a post which is very important, and that is why I am getting such facilities. So in both cases, the performance of the employee can be improved, but again depending upon the nature of the workers. So what kind of incentive can help them? For example, if there is a manager who is already getting 10 lakh rupees a month, if let's say a salary raise is there that is equal to 5,000 rupees, will it really motivate the manager? Obviously not. Getting 10 lakh rupee and then a raise in salary of 5,000 will not motivate the manager at all. But yes, maybe promoting the manager to a higher rank, but giving the same the salary, right? It may motivate the manager. Or maybe a company maintained car, or maybe a company maintained house. Yes, it can motivate them because it will give better status to the manager. All right. So, any problem regarding the methods to improve employee performance? Any of the term which you are not, if you're not clear, you can ask me. Ushba, is that clear to you?
सर
Ushba's
ये
mic is on.
अप्रेजल सर अप्रेजल का जरा एक बार और बता दें वो
Yeah, okay, all right, all right. Appraisal is a system, okay, through which employees' performance is evaluated throughout the year, right? Okay, and at the end of the year, employees are given marks or a percentage or a grade, okay, which tells that the performance of the employees fall in which category. Either it is above perform average, average, below average, or unsatisfactory. So this is how they rate the performance of the employees. But at the end of the year, after monitoring the workers throughout the year on regular basis. Got it, Fazan?
यस सर एब्सोल्युटली
All
क्लियर
right. Okay, good. Anybody
सर
else?
वो जो पॉइंट होता है कि लाइक अगर किसी एम्प्लॉय को कोई फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम है या वैसे कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो वो वाला पॉइंट के मतलब कंपनी उसको फाइनेंशियल हेल्प कर दे तो वो हम पॉइंट किसके साथ जोड़ेंगे लास्ट वाले के साथ फाइनेंशियल इंसेंटिव